So we'll continue by talking about strings and string functions. So what are strings? So in Python, strings is a data type that is used to represent textual data. For example, this is a string. So the animal, my character, and a sentence here. I'm going to put it in Zen mode. So basically so that we could see things better. So I'm going to put it in Zen mode. So here you see that whether a single character, a collection of character, all textual data in Python are represented using string. To know that even the character type is also, the character here is also a string, the way we do that is, as we've done earlier, is just to put the type of, in this case, we're just going to say type of my character. You see? And then we execute this. And you see here we get string. This XTR here indicates that it's a string. So whether it's a single character, then if you want to represent like multiple lines of text, you could also create like the big string, like the one I'm going to show you example now. So we say big string equals to this. As long as you have these triple quotes here, wrapping the string, you could increase the line as you want. So you could also have line 4 and even line 5. So this is how you create string that spans multiple characters. So the next thing we're going to do here is that we're going to look at how to index string. So when you have a string like this here, you could, for example, index the string by saying a long string. And then to get the first character of the string T, it starts with the index of 0. To get the second character of the string, you start by putting a long string. So look at it now. So I could just accept what the IDE suggestion here, pound T here. And then the second one here is index 1. That means the second position. So I'm going to put H here. And the third one here is E. So I'm going to put E there. Then this other one is a space. So there's no character. So I'm just going to write space here. And the other one here is not T. So after the space here, we have B. So this is how you could index all the elements. You could print out the elements, the individual elements of the string using this indexing. So let's see what we do next. So you could also get a collection of this string. For example, we could get the character THE by doing this. So you could do what they call slicing. So this is called slicing. So basically for this string, look at what happened here. So if we want to get, for example, THE, so T starts at position 0 as you see it here. So H at position 1 and E as position 3. So we are going to give 0 all the way to 3 so that we can get the word THE. So this is how we do it. So you just say a long string 0 and then column 3, and then you're going to get THE. So let's execute this and see. So you see we get the word THE at the end. So I'm going to comment this so that it doesn't create some confusion. And then you see here that between 0 and 3, we get the word THE. So look at how clearly it is. So you could also, for example, do this. So I could take this so that I don't have to type it and take time. So now I could start from, by removing this, it still means the same thing. So if I print this, you see I still get the word THE twice. So here. So by omitting 0 at the beginning, it will assume that you are starting from the beginning when you just put a column. So when you remove also the last one, remove the 0 and the 3 here. So what happens is that it assumes that you are starting from the beginning and you are going all the way to the end. That's why you didn't actually provide any character. So when we run this, you see we get the boy is great. It gives you everything because it believes you're starting at the beginning. So you could actually use this indexing to actually get a subsection of the string, which is called a substring. So we could use this to get a substring of this string. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to get the length of a string. So how do we get the length of a string? So the way you do that is that Python has a function like this called length. So we're just going to say length of, and then we put the name of the string. If we do this, let me comment out this part. If we do this, you're going to see that a value will be printed to the screen there, showing the length of the screen. So let's click here, and you see here we get 16 because the total length of the string in question is 16. So let me bring the string here. So the total length here is 16. So if you count the individual characters here, including the spaces, you get 16. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is we're going to actually be looking at string functions. So what are string functions? So functions that actually transform. So there are ways in which we transform this string to something else. So let's see how we could do. For example, if assuming that the string starts with a small character at the beginning, a lowercase character t, we could capitalize this character by using a string function like this. We could say, for example, a long string dot capitalize. So you see what happens here by using the dot capitalize. And what happens is that if you're using, for example, IDX, or you're using Visual Studio Code, which is actually the same thing, you could say, for example, a long string, a underscore long string. And when you do a dot to it, it automatically suggests all the functions, string functions that you can use to transform the string with. So we're going to look at a collection of some of them, not really all. So this one capitalizes this T to get, so we now get a sentence that starts with T at the beginning that is of uppercase. So let's see. So when we execute this, you see what happens. We get the boy is great. So let me clear my screen here again. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is how to change everything to uppercase. And the way you achieve that is by using a function called upper. So let's see what happens here. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to print it because I want us to see it. Then I'm going to call the string a long string, and then I'm going to use dot upper. So this is what I'm going to use. And you should expect that it also has a dot lower. So you could also put a long string dot lower. So when we do this, we'll get the first one being the uppercase and the second one. Look at what happens. So you see the boy is great, all uppercase, and the boy is great, all lowercase. So this is how you could change the whole string. This capitalize just the first character to uppercase, but the dot upper and dot lower actually does the capitalization or change everything to both uppercase and lowercase, the entire set of characters. So the next thing we're going to be looking is how to replace something within the string. Let's say, for example, we want to replace everywhere we see letter E to A, just to C. So you use this a long string dot replace. So it's going to take E and change it to A. So let's see exactly how this appears. So you see here we have where we had THE, we now have THA, and then the boy is great. So you see exactly what is happening here. So I'm going to also comment this line out and we try something else. One of the amazing things you could also do is that you could want to, for example, split this text into what they call a list that we talked about earlier. So a list is just a collection of a collection that you could store definitely anything inside of it. So let's see how that happens. So we could use what they call the split function. So what I could do is that I could say print, you see. So basically the IDE is helping here to do the suggestion for me. So I have a long string dot split. So I'm splitting based on space. So wherever we have a space here, it's going to like split this string. So let's see exactly what happens here. So here you see we have a list. We have a list here. Let me drag this one here. So you see we have a list. The boy is great. So that's what happens when you split this string. So let's look at string formatting. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is string formatting. So I'm going to also comment out this string. So we're going to be looking at string formatting. So the first one we're going to do is, let's say we have like two strings. So a string called Paul and a number called 500. And I want to print something called, I want to just, for example, have a string printed here. So I want to say new string. So I want to format it that I want to say Paul paid 500, for example. So you could use this, they call it F string. So you could start with the letter F and then you put this column for the string. So you double it like this. And then within here, you could say Paul. So you could put this column and then type the name of this variable inside of here. So you could say name of P. And then you could give space here. You could say paid. And then you could create another one. Let's say, for example, I could accept this. So you could create another one with X. So X is 500, paid $500, for example. So let's print this and see how it appears. So we're going to be printing this new string. So let's see. And you see here, okay, there's an error here because of this text we didn't delete. So let me execute this again. So you see, Paul paid $500. So this is what you call F string. So you can just directly, as long as you start it with an F, you can directly substitute the variables inside of it using the square brackets. So the next thing, you could also achieve this. So let's try to create new string too, but now we'll be using a function called format. So you see, in format, look at how you do it. So you do it like this. So you say new string dot format. So you create the string. In terms of format, you just put placeholders. You just put placeholders for the string. So for example, name is at position 0 here, and X is at position 1 here. So you see, and then you now say this name paid $1, like the position 1. So basically what it will do is that it will take this position here, name, and fix it at this 0 position, and take this X and fix it here. So if you have more variables, it will also handle the same thing. So if you see now, when I print it, of course, I'm overwriting this first string. So you're going to see that it will be the same, exactly the same. So let's make it like 2, so that we know that it's the second one that is actually being printed. So let's see. And this is what we get. You see, Paul paid $500. So the same. So it's either it's your choice to choose this F string or to use the format method on the string. So this is how you format string. And one of the things I want to also like introduce finally is that, let's say, for example, it's called concatenation of strings. Let's say, for example, we have a string. Let's define a string A, and it's hello. And then we have a string B called world. So what we could do is that we could simply print A plus B. So like this, we could say A plus B, and this would actually work. So what I could do is just create some space here so that it will not actually join together. So let's see what happens now when we print this. So when we print this, look at what we get here. We get it all jam-packed together. So let me clear here so that we see everything clearly. So let me print again. So you see here, we see hello world as a single word. So in order to separate it, we could decide to add some space here after the hello, so that when we add it, we could have some space in between also. So you see, we get hello world. And remember what we did. So we could decide, for example, to still do, let's say, dot upper, dot capitalize on this string, so that the first character of this string will actually be a big H. And we could do the same here and say we want to do dot upper on the entire string here. It will still work the same. So when we execute it, look at what happens. Okay, let's try to see what happened here. Brackets 2. So now it's solved. I think this is why we're having the error. So when we execute this, look at what we get. We get hello starting with a capital letter at the beginning because it was capitalized, and the wall because we changed everything to upper. I think the reason why we were having the error previously was because we didn't put these brackets in front of the upper. I think by just putting it, we solved the problem. I think this is all we have to cover about for string and string methods. So in the next one, we'll be talking about operators. Thank you.